I was put on sertraline for anxiety. Little did we know later on that actually it's a symptom of Parkinson. And they said, well, are you walking okay? I said, yeah, I'm walking fine. I did make another appointment and I was face to face with a student doctor, but it's an 18-month waiting list.
18 months?
18-month waiting list. 2 days later, I went for a private diagnosis, and he said straight away, took one look at me and said, she's got it. It was absolutely devastating to get the diagnosis.
The first thing that comes to your mind is, am I going to die of this? You are expected to sit in those emotions and just wait.
Every ache or pain, every memory that you can't remember, I'd far rather I had it than my husband or my mum, because I know I can cope. I've got you.
Before we continue, I would like to quickly talk to you about my Lean with Leanne fitness and health app. I created the Lean with Leanne app to help support women with their training and nutrition throughout every single chapter of their life. The app provides structured training plans for the gym or at home for women, including programs for hormonal balance, pre- and postnatal training, building confidence on the gym floor, and sustainable weight loss. Programs that work with female bodies, not against them. You get a fully personalised training and nutrition plan, as well as recipe ideas and a library of 20 to 30 minute on-demand fitness classes that you can do in the comfort of your own home. Some of your favourite workouts, such as Zumba, core conditioning, and more, making exercise not only accessible to everyone, but also enjoyable. So whether you're looking to finally lose weight while still enjoying a flexible, comfortable life, whether you want to build your confidence, rebuild your strength after having a baby, or simply feel confident in your own skin, then the Lean with Leanne app will provide you with everything in one place. And I am giving all podcast listeners an exclusive free trial to the Lean with Leanne app. So if you're interested, head to the link in the show notes to get your free trial now. Welcome to We Missed The Memo, the women's health podcast where no question goes unanswered and no appointment is necessary. Today's episode is part of our special series, Lived, Not Learned, where we will be talking to real women about their real stories. Stories behind their symptoms, diagnoses, struggles, and successes. And today, I am joined by my gorgeous friend and client, Louise Hart. Yay! One of my first guests, Lou. Yay. I am so excited to have you on. How are you?
I'm very well. Bit nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Oh, it's just, I don't know.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
No.
This is only my second time, so don't worry. We'll be learning together.
Been in front of a class full of children.
Yes.
But anything over 5 foot, I've never done.
I'm only just over 5 foot. So today we are going to be discussing Lou's amazing story, including your journey with Parkinson's. So just for the listeners, Lou, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a mum of 2 and been married for 33 years this year.
You don't look old enough.
Oh, thank you. I've been a teacher for 36 years.
Wow.
And retired a couple of years ago. And lived in Australia for 9 years. Been in Brighton. So nothing's going to be in order in the
It's fine.
podcast.
It's fine.
Going to be all over the place because I think I have ADHD.
Yeah, so you've got 2 ADHDers plus 2 anxiety Annies. So we've got tissues because I don't think we've made it through a single PT session without ever crying, have we?
Quite often it's happy tears.
And how long have you been training with me now?
I think I was 53. And I am 62 in May.
Wow. So we're coming up for our 10-year anniversary.
Oh, yes. We'll have to do something.
We will. What is that in wedding terms?
I don't know.
It's not silver or anything grand like that.
Probably something like rubber.
Rubber.
I know what I'm getting you.
Oh, God. Okay, so the main reason I've asked you to come on the pod today is because you've got an incredible story and you're such a massive inspiration to so many women everywhere. But before we talk about Parkinson's, let's talk a bit about your earlier life as a teacher. How long have you been in teaching? Where have you taught? Where did you start?
Well, I messed up my A-levels.
Okay.
And at the time, teaching was the only thing that would accept me.
Okay.
And as it happened, I was, well, it sounds a bit funny, but natural at it. I really enjoyed it. I loved the children. I started in Brighton for 3 years, then went to Australia, cleaned cars.
Oh.
Came back.
Are we talking like bikini car wash here? Or?
Of course. And then came back and I applied for jobs in either Brighton or Devon, thinking I'd live in either of those two places. And I got a job in Torquay.
Okay, what school did you start at?
Sherwell Valley.
Okay, nice.
It's still a lovely school. And then I met my husband at the scuba diving club. He was my instructor. So it was a little bit of hero worship. He showed me his scar first of all.
Where's his scar?
On his knee. It's very romantic.
Very romantic, whilst under the water, trying to breathe.
And then I went from Sherwell Valley to Preston Primary, another gorgeous school, still gorgeous. Without me knowing, I was pregnant with Dominic.
Her firstborn.
My firstborn. And can I just stop for a minute?
Yeah.
I'm not stopping,
It's fine,
really.
it's fine.
Just to explain to people that my tremor is very excited at the minute. So I'm shaking, not with nerves. I think it's actually excitement.
Yes, because when you have a bit of extra adrenaline in your system, Trevor gets a bit excited, doesn't he? We named him Trevor, didn't we?
Yeah.
Trevor the Tremor.
Trev Tremor or Trevi Babes, depending how we're feeling. Yes, so worked at Preston for a few years, and then my second child came along, and I couldn't get a job share, so I went on supply at Oldway, and then ended up staying at Oldway for about 15 years, which was fantastic because it was my local school, and the kids were very happy there.
Nice.
And then, at the age of 50, I got a job at Roseland School, another lovely school. I only go to lovely schools. And I was very surprised that I could get another job at 50. Years ago, I don't think you would have done. But
Really?
Yeah, I think nowadays they're sort of recognising experience, and my children were getting older, so more independent, although they do come with their own issues, as everybody knows. But no, I really enjoyed it. And then I got Parkinson's, which was preempted with anxiety. So it started to not go downhill, but a bit more difficult.
Things started to change a bit. What were you teaching in primary? Anything in particular or specific subjects?
I was mainly an all-round primary school teacher, so I taught everything. And in the latter years, my head was very good and suggested I could teach maths as a specialism. And I loved it, absolutely loved it.
Good with numbers.
Good with numbers, but I just loved seeing children laughing and smiling and being successful.
Nice.
I was like my dad. My dad used to wind my sister, brother and I up, getting us all excited, then pass us over to Mum. And I feel as though I used to do the same with maths. Wind them all up, get them all excited, and then send them off to literacy.
Where the English teacher could deal with them.
And apologise, and then go home early.
Did you find the teaching world stressful? Because I know I train a lot of teachers. I know right now it's one of probably the most stressful occupations to be in.
Yes, it was. And what hurt me most was on a Sunday, my husband and children would be out doing something nice, and I'd be at the dining room table working, and there wasn't a choice. I couldn't not do the work. It had to be done.
Yeah.
The children have always been fabulous, and any teacher, I think, enjoys the children most of all. But the paperwork and the assessments and the government pressures, etc., it did take its toll.
Yeah.
Especially when I started getting anxious, which we didn't know at the time was due to Parkinson's.
Yeah.
You're doubting yourself.
Yeah.
And there was pressures for observations all the time, coming in, being watched, and new initiatives coming in.
Yeah.
Different ways of talking to children and changing how you normally taught to accommodate new procedures.
Yeah.
But it's a high pressurized job,
Yeah.
which is wonderful in the holidays, because you don't, you know, my husband is an engineer, and he said mothers and fathers, they never saw each other because they had to negotiate the childcare.
Yeah.
Whereas I was there,
Yeah,
which
of
is
course.
wonderful. But term time, a lot of the time I was working till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So we're talking planning lessons,
Yeah.
marking, trying to get to grips with new guidelines.
Assessments, reports. And so from 8:30 to 3:30, you're actually in the classroom, so you can't do anything in that time.
Yeah.
And that's what you get paid for, actually, is that's your payment.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time is at home.
Yeah.
Or
Working behind the scenes.
Working behind the scenes, yeah.
And I think maybe that's like a bit of a misunderstood narrative. I think a lot of people think, oh, teachers, you know, they work 8 till 3, they get all the summer off. But actually, there's an absolute ton of work that you're doing in your personal time that you're not getting paid for.
Yeah.
To make sure the children have the best opportunities in the classroom time.
Yeah. And I know there's pressures on resources, so less TAs to help. They of course are invaluable.
Yeah.
And they're invaluable with their teaching.
Yeah.
It's not like 50 years ago when it was cleaning out paint pots.
Yeah.
They're getting observed by Ofsted on their, you know, how they talk to children, and they're thinking off the cuff. They're invaluable, but there's less and less of those now.
Yeah. And you still have a hand in a bit of teaching, don't you, even though you're retired?
Yes, well, I retired in the December 2 years ago, and then my friend, she owns a nursery, Southernwood Nursery in Torquay, and she said, would you like to be interviewed? I'd love you to come and be interviewed for a job at my place. And I sort of thought, oh no, I can't do it. I don't teach, I never taught above 5 foot, but also I didn't teach below 3 foot. And anyway, I went for an interview, got the job, and I looked after this little boy, and he was an absolute delight.
Nice.
Challenging, but that's what I was there for.
Yep.
And I found it was a really good transition from being a teacher, and that's my identity.
Yep.
So I've got to let go of that a little bit.
Yep.
And I had this wonderful staff at this nursery who all get on. So I've got children still. I've got staff to talk to. My boss, Pippa Bennett, is just wonderful, always has been.
Nice.
She was a Senko at Old Way School many years ago. So I am a lucky person, Leanne. I am a very lucky person.
What was it like for your children? I probably should ask Dom and Annie this, to have a teacher as a mum.
Well, I think there's two different opinions. One from my son and one from... Once I made a joke with Dominic in the classroom, and he was so cross with me. So I never did that again.
So did you used to teach them then?
I didn't have them as in the class, but I did teach them, like I taught Annie maths.
Okay.
One day a week.
Okay.
Excuse me. And I taught my son now and again. But they were very much Mrs. Hart.
Yes.
And I tried really hard. It's a really difficult situation because, of course, I'm privy to things that might have happened socially between children, but I have to stay out of it.
Yeah.
I trust the staff, trusted their teachers, and they can deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think that was okay.
Was it hard, though? Was it hard when things
It was
happened?
hard. It was hard. Annie won't mind me telling you, but I was on playground duty at Old Way, and Annie was in year 1. And my friend was on playground duty with the little ones where she was. And I thought, don't look round, don't look round. I look round, and there's Annie on top of 2 boys, and the teacher, who's a friend of mine, looking at me and going... So, and then also, I remember Dominic, I was on playground duty, and he was only year 2, and he was walking around on his own.
Oh, no.
And I didn't go up to him. And one of my colleagues said, Louise, would you have gone up to if it was a different child? And I said, yes, I would.
And
but
that's
not
where the
till
anxiety started.
Yes, that was it.
I love it. I love it. So, nearly 10 years of personal training with me. What initially brought you to the gym?
One of my colleagues at Roselands, you were training her.
Yeah.
I think you know who.
Yeah.
And she was doing really well, and she said she was singing your praises. And I thought, I'll have a go. But I was full of anxiety. I didn't realise. I don't know whether you remember, but
Yeah.
I used to cry all the time.
Used to?
Wow, I was thinking about it on the way here. I cried all the time, and it was upset anxiety tears.
I think it's really common for women to feel really intimidated of the gym, especially Winners is a very open plan, big gym. And when you walk in and the music's on, there's a lot of equipment, you know, it is intimidating. I also think my generation, your generation, have never been sort of privy to gym-based workouts when we were younger, whereas the younger generation now, everybody's in the gym now, from you know, teens all the way up, whereas I think we were never told about weight training and all of that. So to then try and go in to that environment and feel safe and secure, it is very, very intimidating. I mean, I built my whole business helping women that are intimidated of the gym. But was there like a goal you had in mind? Because obviously you joined pre-Parkinson's way before.
Thank goodness. My goal was just to lose weight and feel better about myself.
Yeah.
And I watched over the years, my goal changed. And that was a real humdinger of a moment. I thought, actually, I want to get stronger.
Yes.
It's not about getting smaller. You know, I'm in my 50s or 60s. I am as I am, and I want to make sure that I stay strong.
Yes.
And I still get a real thrill if I get a PB.
Yes.
And I remember saying to you when I was 53 at the start, I said to you, can I get stronger at 53? Or was this the end of the line sort of thing?
Yeah.
And you said, don't be silly.
Yeah. Look at you now.
Yeah.
What's your heaviest deadlift? Tell the listeners.
120 kilograms.
Ooh.
It's a small walrus.
It is. One day Louise did a PB on a trap bar deadlift, and then we were Googling what animals weighed the same amount, and it was like a hairy pig.
Yeah, hairy pig.
A baby elephant, a hippo, and we just stuck all these pictures to the trap bar, didn't we, of all these animals. But yeah, I think another common misconception, and I think you said earlier as well about not feeling like you could get another job at 50.
Yeah.
I feel like I've even felt it as soon as I turned 35, women are almost told that like soon as you hit certain age, like it's all downhill from there, and you know, you're at the end of the road now, whether it's fertility, hormones, strength, whatever, work. But it's simply not the case. I mean, you've just got stronger and stronger and stronger, and you're still getting stronger. And there's no stopping us.
No.
200 kilos is on the way.
Well, it was 200 with the leg press. I was very proud of that.
Yeah. We're going to include some clips of you training in the edit, I think, because we need to show people how strong Lou is.
Go, Lou, go. Good girl. Boom. Go on, Lou, nearly there.
So, let's talk about when we both first noticed that something wasn't quite right. Can you remember?
Well, things have been going on for some time, but unfortunately, it's about the same time as menopause.
Yeah.
And very often people associate things with it's just menopause.
Yeah.
And it might be, but it doesn't get investigated any further.
Yeah.
But anxiety, I thought it was, because I was told when I was 44, they did my hormones, the doctor checked my hormones and said, you're feeling the way you are because of your hormones have dipped. And it accounts for your feelings of vulnerability. Well, I never told this doctor I was feeling vulnerable, but she was absolutely right. She must have been able to see it in my face or something.
Yeah.
So I was put on sertraline
Yep.
or citalopram, one of those, for anxiety. Little did we know later on that actually it's a symptom of Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Just because you've got anxiety doesn't mean you're going to get Parkinson's. I don't want anybody to think that. But it is a symptom for me. And it all started when we were discussing my tremor. I thought it was side effects of the anxiety drug. But no, and it would get worse with exercise.
Yes. Yep, I remember. I want to talk about the diagnosis protocol, but before I do, I just want to make it clear, we are never here to bash the NHS
Absolutely
or anything
not.
like that. It is an invaluable service, but what we are going to talk about is advocating for yourself as a woman, pushing when you know something's not right, the experience you've had a couple of times with when things haven't been right for you and your health, and how underfunded and underprepared the system is, particularly for women's health, which is one of the main reasons I'm doing this podcast. So I remember the anxiety, I remember you getting your prescription, and I remember your tremor. And I remember saying to you, I'm not very happy about this, Lou.
Yep.
And I remember trying to tread a bit carefully, because we'll get into health anxiety in a second, but you probably will say that you've always had a bit of health anxiety, haven't you, as well, which is really, really common, I'm starting to learn, and not talked about enough. So I sort of treaded lightly around it, and I said to you, please, can you get an appointment? And it was a telephone appointment, wasn't it?
It was a telephone appointment, and in fact it came through when I was at the gym.
Yeah.
And basically, they said, what are you worried about? And I said, I'm worried I have Parkinson's because I've got a tremor. And they said, well, are you walking okay? And I said, yeah, I'm walking fine.
Yeah. And I remember you asked me, didn't you? And I said yes, because I hadn't noticed any limping. I hadn't noticed you trip.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed any change in your gait, any change in your balance.
But so I said no, and they said, well, you haven't got Parkinson's then.
Yeah.
Turns out what you're supposed to be looking for also is a swinging arm.
Yeah.
And when, to cut a long story short, I went for a private, we'll come to it, but I went for a private diagnosis. And he said straight away, took one look at me and said, she's got it.
Yeah.
She's displaying 3 or 4 of the symptoms.
And this is where my frustration comes in, because I think you had 2 or 3 telephone appointments, because
I think so,
the tremor was becoming increasingly worse. I then remember noticing you walking in the gym, and your hand was sort of in this sort of position.
It's like a cup position.
Yeah, and I thought maybe you're self-conscious that it's tremoring and you're holding it in a certain position. And I said to you again, I'm still not happy. And I remember you saying, the Easter holidays are coming up, I'll ring. And again, they said, well, you're not walking funny. It's not Parkinson's. And I just said, I can't believe you're not being seen. Like, you need to be physically seen. And it's felt like it was almost put on you to diagnose yourself. And I just thought, how is this actually happening? Like, it was almost like you're being a bit gaslit.
Yes. Well, what happened then was I did make another appointment, and I was face to face with a student doctor.
Right.
Who had half an hour to spend with me.
Yeah.
She was amazing. Doctors, they know so much, but they've only got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, she did all sorts of tests, went next door to get a GP, an experienced GP who was doing all sorts. And he said, well, I think you may or may not have it. He said, but it's an 18-month waiting list.
18 months.
18-month waiting list. So I said, as it happened, my husband in his previous company had health insurance.
Yep.
And I said, I've got health insurance. He said, do it.
Yeah.
2 days later, I went to a hospital in Exeter and was diagnosed with Parkinson's and was on my meds within 2 days.
Yeah.
Now, I have met numerous people like me, and they've had to go private to get the diagnosis. But that's not the end of the story, because you've got to get into the NHS system.
Yeah.
And that was the really difficult stage. And it was months before I could be seen and get into the system. And I ended up going to Torbay Hospital on Parkinson's Awareness Week. This is where I might get to.
It's okay.
And I just cried at the table. Parkinson's UK was there. I cannot thank them enough. And the Torbay Hospital Parkinson's team, movement and disorder team, are amazing. Like you said, the NHS is fantastic, but it's getting in the system.
Yeah.
And once I've been in the system, I feel very well looked after.
Yeah.
Trevor's kicking off big time now.
It's because we're talking about him.
It's because we're talking, he knows.
Do you want a break? Should we have a little drink?
No, I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Can you talk us through your private appointment, what they made you do in order to diagnose you, and then what pathway they put you on?
So there was some good and not so good things about it. I saw a very good consultant, and first thing he did was say, walk down there and walk back. And I did that. He was stood next to my husband, and I saw them sort of whispering. And I thought, well, I'm not falling over, I'm not stumbling, I'm fine. And then he said, don't worry, I'm going to tell you all about it. So we went into the office, and he said, you've got Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And he told me how he knew, and it was because of my arm not swinging as it should, and the tremor, of course.
Yeah. So ordinarily someone would walk and they would kind of like pendulum their arms forward and back.
But I was like you described it, I hold my arms still.
Yeah. So only one of your arms moves forward and back.
Yeah, properly. Yeah. And it was absolutely devastating to get the diagnosis. He did say, because he was a neurologist, he did say, I have to give people diagnosis of MS or MND or brain tumours. He said, I'd rather give you Parkinson's.
Yeah.
I asked him if I was going to die of it. He said, no. You take it with you. Now, this has always been contentious because newspapers often report about somebody dying of Parkinson's, which is dreadful to see. Yeah. But I think sometimes it's the ramifications of the Parkinson's. Yeah. But I have learned over the last couple of years, 3 years, I only ask the questions I'm prepared for the answer. Yeah. And occasionally people tell me stuff I don't want to know. But I really believe, you'll know these things when you're ready. Yeah. And then you can cope with it.
Yeah. And you are so strong and such an inspiration to everyone. And the thing that I want to highlight when it comes to, like, as you say, getting into the NHS system is you've been diagnosed. It's absolutely traumatic for you and your family to hear those words. It's a degenerative condition. Yeah. So then you have all of these questions. Like you say, the first thing that comes to your mind is, am I going to die of this? But then you are expected to sit in those emotions and just wait for 18 plus months to get any sort of support or help. And it's just terrifying. It's terrifying, the thought.
Because you don't know every ache or pain, every memory that you can't remember. All of those, you become paranoid. Yeah. Is it the Parkinson's, or is it something else, or is it menopause, or is it me just getting older?
Yeah. And that's important as well, isn't it? Because obviously you have your menopause hormonal fluctuations, which are going to cause aches and pains. Yeah. You've got, the other symptoms of menopause, such as the brain fog, again, increased anxiety. So you're thinking, which one of these is it, and how do I tell? Then every time you get sick, you're paranoid. Absolutely. Is this a symptom of the Parkinson's, or am I just sick? Yeah. And then aches and pains as you get older. So to be expected to be left for that amount of time,
it was awful. That's why when I arrived at the hospital, I took my husband with me and said, we can't get hold of anybody. And I'm sure the head nurse, prescribing nurse actually, Louise Trout, won't mind me mentioning her name, but she was at that desk with Parkinson's UK, and she said, don't worry, I'll help you, I'll sort you.
Yeah.
And on the way home in the car, we had a phone call from her. And she said, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this.
Amazing.
And you just suddenly, that safety net had come in and I wasn't floundering.
Yeah.
So thank you, Louise Trout.
Yeah, big shout out to Louise Trout.
Parkinson's UK is superb
Yeah.
because you're getting real information.
Yeah.
I had somebody from Parkinson's UK when I was relatively newly diagnosed, NHS-wise. He had come from London and started work. He'd been doing the job for many, many years, but did it in London. He came to Torbay, and he was saying he'd never seen a system of people so good.
Oh, brilliant.
So in Torbay, I think we're really lucky.
Yeah.
Really lucky.
That's good to know that Torbay has a good system set up and is like of a high standard, because that's what you want. But in that moment, when you're diagnosed, all you really want is some sort of medical professional to say to you, I'm going to help you. This is what we need to do.
Yes.
And this is, again, another reason why I wanted to set this podcast up, because I want to make sure we have a platform where somebody who needs help with Parkinson's, with dementia, with perimenopause can come on board this platform and find all of the resources and connections.
Yeah.
So after this episode, there will be in the show notes links to Parkinson's UK, contact information for local services, but also national services that families and people that have been diagnosed can access to make sure that people have the right information.
And I've come across so many people that have been so helpful.
Yeah.
Like, I think, I'm not being dramatic, although my husband says I'm a drama queen sometimes.
You're in good company then.
You saved my life twice. Once, when you'd built me up strength-wise to cope with Parkinson's. And 2, you told me to go to the doctor. And I think only a PT who knows you so well, other than a GP, well, you know me better than the GP. You know what my body can do and what it can't do and what's not performing correctly. So if you hadn't have done that, I don't know how I would have been.
I want to also continue to talk about Parkinson's, but also delve a little bit into health anxiety. I think it is something so many women in particular struggle with, especially if they're mums, because they're not only thinking about themselves, they've also got their children to consider. But I think I've known you a long time, and pre-Parkinson's diagnosis, I think you always struggled a bit with health anxiety. Can you talk a bit about your experience and why or where you feel that came from?
I don't know. I think I have reflected a lot over the last few years. I think maybe because I have more time, my children are older, but also seeing your children go through things, you think to yourself, actually, that's like me.
Yeah.
You know, did it come from me, sort of thing. And we had a really good conversation some time ago, and we were talking about my health anxiety, and I was saying I'm frightened the house would burn down, or I'm frightened this, and you said to me, so what about your mum, was she ever anxious? And I thought, well, actually my dad worked away on the ships and she would sleep with a hammer under her pillow. Now she'd not told me that, but as a child that's normal. She used to carry a hammer in a handbag as well. And then you said to me, why do you think your mum's anxious? And then I thought, well, actually, my granddad was a policeman, and they told me that when he was at work or goes to bed at night, they hung his truncheon on the banister in case anybody broke in. They'd know there's a policeman there. And then you think, goodness me, there's this chain of... But I've also been unlucky, and I'm sure everybody's the same. You know, I was misdiagnosed. My grandmother was misdiagnosed with esophageal cancer. And you just, after years and years, I'm 61, it builds, doesn't it?
Of course.
You're proved right.
Yes, and that's such a powerful statement, because we've both had therapy, and I've done my level 2, my level 3 counselling qualification because I wanted to be better at communicating with my clients, my female clients. And your brain searching to be proven right for a core belief like that is why so many of us struggle with anxiety. And it could be from childhood, it could be through personal experience, but if you build a belief about yourself or about your family or about your environment from a young age, it becomes like a subconscious thought process. So then your brain is constantly trying to keep you safe, looking for situations where it can prove that that's correct. So it would be normal for you to have health anxiety because your grandma's been misdiagnosed. You've been misdiagnosed not once but twice now with different things, and we'll get onto that as well. And then you have, you know, your family environment, which is there are actions where they are trying to keep themselves safe, which every family does, but as a child you start to take on the belief that we're not safe, or you know, someone could come and hurt us. So it's like your brain builds that belief pattern and it's constant in your brain. And that goes for anything, not just health anxiety. It could be body image issues. You know, I talked about on social media this week how in my EMDR therapy we're dealing with situations at school where people would be cruel to me about, you know, my weight, and how that's gone on to affect me still at age 38. And you start to reflect as you get older on these things and think, that's why I felt the way I felt. But in terms of your health anxiety, obviously the Parkinson's, number one, that must feel like a massive, well, I'm right. There you go.
Right,
but then more recently you got unwell with appendicitis, didn't you?
Yes. I was having pain at night, and then I said to my husband, this isn't right, there's something wrong. And I'd almost forgotten about it. And I said, I'm going to ring 111. And I rang 111 and got in contact with the out-of-hours GP. And he asked for some symptoms, and he said it might be gallbladder or it might be pancreatitis.
Yep.
So he said, ring the GP in the morning.
Yep.
I hung up thinking, nobody gets an appointment when you ring them at 8 in the morning. What shall I do? And I hate bothering anybody.
Yep.
Because I just think, what if it's, you know. Anyway, we just went into A&E.
Yeah. So you knew in that moment, this isn't right.
This isn't right. Something in me, because I wouldn't normally.
Yeah.
Something in me. Anyway, it turns out it was appendicitis, and it was very messy in there, apparently.
And you had emergency surgery that day, didn't you?
And the doctor said, even if it was pancreatitis or gallstones, you should have been in hospital anyway. So again, that puts a level of distrust.
Yeah.
And you don't quite.
Yeah.
I would love to just trust everything.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Well, and you kind of wish that you could, because that's the point of the system.
It is the point.
And this is where so many women, I think in particular, need to have a voice and need to learn from like your experience and other people's experience. Like, if something does not feel right, no matter how many times you are told, no, you keep going. And I don't care if you are in A&E with it, you keep going until somebody listens to you and you are heard, because it can be the difference between a burst appendix and death. Do you know what I mean? And it is just not worth not trusting your gut instinct with it.
You've got to trust yourself.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think people get wrong when they think about Parkinson's?
I think they think it's just about the tremor. Now, I believe I'm lucky. I've got a dominant tremor, Parkinson's. But there's at least 40 symptoms. For me, my toe curls, I can't unlock it. I can't smell bad smells. I can smell Chanel No. 5, but not bad smells. So
it's kind of a good thing.
Yeah. Other people have got cognitive issues. I've got brain fog. I don't know whether it's Parkinson's or not. constipation can be a real problem.
Really? Digestive issues
Yeah,
as well? I see, I
definitely,
never knew
because
that.
Every muscle is affected.
Yeah,
So some people, it'd be swallowing and or their voice goes,
Yeah.
or their handwriting goes. My handwriting hasn't gone yet. Again, I feel paranoid, but as a teacher, I use my voice
yeah,
and I can project
Yeah.
without shouting. And I can't do that now, and it might be because I'm out of practice.
yeah,
Because I'm not in a classroom anymore.
yeah,
But it could be Parkinson's is beginning
Yeah.
to take its toll. What concerns me is every day I've had my best day. And that's what people don't realise. You think, I'm not going to get any better. But hopefully I can. But you know what? I was thinking, because I try and look at positives, I'd far rather I had it than my husband or my mum. Because I know I can cope. I've got you. I've got other people helping me. So, you know, I like exercise. And that's the one thing that can help,
yeah.
is exercise.
And I think that, I hope you know what a testament it is about the person you are to even say something like that. Because I think one thing I truly believe about mindset, and it probably sounds a bit woo-woo, but like the universe and energy, is if you believe that you can cope and you believe that you're strong enough to get through something, your body will respond to those thoughts. And I will always remember you saying to me, which I've taken with me, your dad or Chris's dad was a GP.
Chris's dad.
And him saying to you, I could have two people in my practice sitting in front of me with the exact same disease and I would know who would survive based on
Yeah.
their thoughts and their mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that is why, I mean, how long ago were you diagnosed now, Lou?
3
years. And I'd be honest, I've seen no deterioration in that 3 years with any of your symptoms. Yes, Trev, the tremor, he comes and goes, and sometimes he's strong, and sometimes you come in and you don't have the tremor at all.
No, yeah.
But there's been no tripping, no change in your gait, no change in your strength, no change in your speech, your face, nothing. And I know sometimes you find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the work that you put in, the resilience and the determination you have, is so inspirational, because I hope people will see this episode if they've been diagnosed and get themselves in the gym and see just how powerful it is. In terms of symptoms, your main symptom is your tremor.
Is the tremor and my toe.
Your toe.
Toe.
But that's all you've been suffering with.
I think sleep is probably part of it.
Yeah.
And I do get tired. Fatigue is part of it. But I don't think, again, I don't know whether it's Parkinson's
Yeah.
or not.
Because it could also be hormones and age.
It could
Yeah.
be, yeah.
And there's no official blood test or anything like that that signifies anything to do with Parkinson's.
There is a scan. I don't know what it's called, a DEET scan, a DEET scan or something.
Okay.
It's the only way, but they don't tend to diagnose that. I've had a brain scan because when I went for my private diagnosis, they wanted to make sure it wasn't anything else going on in there. But there is some scan, but it's not really routinely given.
Once you were diagnosed, they put you on medication.
Yes.
And what does the medication do and what is it?
Well, I was put on one set of medication. I was asked by the consultant, what would you like? Would you like the dopamine,
Yep.
levodopa, or would you like the dopamine agonist, so it acts like a dopamine?
Okay.
And I didn't know what to go for. I just went, agonist?
Why would you know what to go
No,
for?
I know. This was the downside of the private diagnosis. And I went on some medication that I was taking 3 times a day and went to see Louise Trout for one of my appointments, and she said, why are you on medication 3 times a day? Would you like to have 1 tablet in the morning or in the evening? I said, oh, yes, please. So I've been on that. And then my last appointment with her, she's so good at her job. She talks through everything. She goes from head to toe. And she changed my medication, not because I was any worse, but she found some medication that might be good for anxiety.
Okay.
And restless legs, that's another symptom I get, actually.
Okay.
restless leg syndrome. And I think she pulled a blinder there
Yeah.
because it has helped.
So in terms of the medication, you talk about dopamine. There's part of Parkinson's that affects your dopamine.
So it's all because, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but there is something in my brain that's 80% gone,
Yeah.
and it's the bit that makes dopamine.
Yeah. Which is interesting because you now, looking back, are thinking that, like
Yeah.
me, you may have had ADHD, which, as we know, is a dopamine deficiency neurological disorder, let's call it. I hate those words, but and I'm sure Annie won't mind me mentioning
she
that
won't
she's
mind.
also been diagnosed with
Yeah.
ADHD, and I take medication for ADHD. So to hear that it's a dopamine, it affects your dopamine is really, really interesting.
So some poor people have motivation, and it's not their fault.
Yeah.
They what do you call it? Not lethargy, procrastination.
Yes.
This is all part of Parkinson's
Yeah.
because you're not making that
Yeah.
dopamine.
Yeah. Yeah, so with the ADHD, things that you can struggle with due to the dopamine deficiency is like the impulsiveness behavior,
Yeah.
the massive creativity brain. I have that, but it's the procrastination, it's the implementing
Yeah.
that's really, really tough. So I would be interested to know the connection between the two. I am absolutely not a GP, and I'm not saying if you have ADHD
No.
you will get Parkinson's. I don't.
No,
That's
no,
not a
no.
thing. But just to know how the brain works fascinates me. And with Parkinson's especially, knowing that dopamine is affected, I think is really interesting, because it could be a case of you're experiencing more ADHD style symptoms
Yeah.
because of the Parkinson's.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's fascinating the more the science comes out. For you, what has been the hardest thing emotionally since you've been diagnosed?
There's been a couple of getting the diagnosis was really hard. I found out a year later that my children were really upset, and they rang my brother, Hilt, and he never told me, but Annie rang, was in tears. We're a close family, and he reassured them. That was really hard.
Yeah. And no system is put in place for you or your family to have support from a perspective of like mental health.
No.
And this is something that's also crazy to me, is that there is no gateway for your family to even just get some education
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
you know, my mum has been diagnosed with this. You hear these horror stories in the papers because the papers love to big everything up
Yeah.
and make everything dramatic. So when you do go to Google stuff, which we know personally
Yeah.
is the worst thing to do, you read these horrendous headlines. How do your kids cope with that when they are not being told there's a class on at the hospital or at this
Yeah.
centre to educate you on someone in your family has been diagnosed? How can you
Yeah.
help them? How can you help yourself? Because it is traumatising for everyone involved.
Yeah, it is. I'm in control of it. But the people that are watching me, my family, we deal a lot of it with humour. And I can't tell you some of the jokes my husband said.
Might be a bit inappropriate.
Yeah. I must
But if you
tell
ever need to ice a cake,
Yeah.
who's the woman to ask?
That's exactly. My friend Jane, she won't mind me saying her name. She was so upset. My friends were very upset with the diagnosis. I was like the first one of my generation who got something, you know. And she, fight it, Lou, fight it, you know, we're behind you. And at the end of the phone call, she said, Louise, she said, I'm making some cakes at the weekend. Can you come and do the icing sugar? And that is something I mean, not everybody's the same, but
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
I've just got to laugh about it.
Helps get you
We
through.
have a giggle in the gym,
Yeah.
and yeah.
But also I think, you know, Annie and Dom, I've also trained them as well. And I just know that they're just so inspired by you, and vice versa, you know, you're inspired by them. And they're one of the main reasons that you are so strong in the gym and keep coming and keep being consistent, because, you know, a lot of people could just sit and think, I've got Parkinson's now, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, you know, let
Curl
it be.
up, yeah.
Whereas you are in the gym twice a week, you are Pilates twice a week, you are so active, you're doing everything that you need to do, which leads me on to, how has the gym helped you physically and mentally since your diagnosis?
Oh, well, I think you know what's coming. I am very lucky because I know not everybody likes exercise. So I'd been getting stronger with you before this happened, which is why that was the first time you saved my life. But people say I don't like the gym, but I see it as the social. I'm lucky. I've got you.
Yeah.
I've got our group of girls on a Wednesday. I do Pilates with Debbie Sace.
Yeah.
And I share a session with Tracy.
Yeah.
And my Pilates on a Friday. That's a group class with women my age. So it's the social, and doctors will tell you that's so important for everybody. That's why my mum's 88, because she's just got to go out with friends all the time for a coffee and a cake.
Yeah.
And strength-wise, I mean, I went to Louise Trout for one of my sessions, and she had a student doctor with her, and she said, walk to the end. I'm always walking. Walk to the end and walk back. And she was saying Louise has got really strong core.
Yes.
And you can tell. And it wasn't the way I was walking, it's the way I turned.
Yes, nice.
Now, Louise Trout, she deadlifts 125 kilos.
Boom.
So that was wonderful. I must get that one in.
I love that.
Yeah.
But that is just to highlight the importance of strength training. And I want to talk a bit about our training, because I'm always throwing things at you, aren't I,
Yes.
Lou? New exercises, new things.
Heavy balls.
Yeah, definitely. There's lots of heavy balls in our gym. But when I went away and researched, how can I help Lou? How can I introduce things into our sessions that are going to prevent you from getting worse? And it's all about the neuropathways with Parkinson's. You know, a lot of them shut down, a lot of them stop, the messages stop getting sent, and that's partly why you have the one side that stops moving, that starts shaking. So moving those parts of your body all of the time and getting them to do things that are challenging for coordination, you know, catching the ball, or I have her running up and down the studio with a dumbbell to make sure she's swinging the arm forward and back, or I'll put a band on you, won't I, and force you to move the arm. Explosive movements that are dynamic. All of these make the neuropathways fire and make the messages go to the brain. And what we often find, isn't it, that round one, the hand might not want to do it, but by round 3, it's moving like a completely unaffected arm.
Yeah.
And anyone that has a diagnosis of Parkinson's, no matter where you're at with your diagnosis, if you can get some form of exercise in to retrain those neuropathways, it will help you forever.
It's not just getting stronger. It's like you say, it's the brain link.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm so lucky, because you've done your own research.
Yeah.
I pay for you for an hour's.
Yeah.
But I know behind the scenes, you're doing all this research. You can't help yourself.
No, I can't.
And a lot of the exercises are explosive.
Yeah.
And we still laugh.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't come, I don't think,
Yeah.
if we weren't laughing as well.
You've got to enjoy it.
You've got to enjoy it. And I've told her you're not allowed to retire.
Never. I'll never retire. Has Parkinson's had an effect on how you view yourself?
Sometimes I'm trying to look for the positives. I'm not one for blowing my own trumpet.
Blow it.
But I'm pleased that I have, because you don't know how you're going to be.
Yeah.
You don't know, and I'm pleased with how I'm coping.
I'd like something a bit better than that. Like, I'm bloody proud of myself for pushing myself all the time, for showing up even on the days when I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because that's hard anyway, let alone if you've got Parkinson's.
Yeah.
So you should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you.
What keeps you going, Lou?
Oh my goodness. My family, most definitely. My friends. People like yourself. I've got, friends in the gym, friends I've had at school. This is what I mean. I'm so lucky. So lucky. I've got a husband who, he puts me first. And I know it's not easy for him. He spots me when I'm tired. He got me the hot tub.
And then he built you a little...
Oh, a little...
Is it a pergola?
Yeah.
Pergola for it?
Yeah.
He's a good egg, isn't he, Chris?
He's a good egg. He's a good egg. I'm a lucky, lucky lady.
He's also very lucky. What would you say to someone who has just been diagnosed with Parkinson's?
And that is a brilliant question, because despite tears, there is still fun to be had, and I'm still having fun. We've got all sorts of people have helped me. I've had EMDR, like yourself, with Dr. Alex Button. I've had hypnotherapy to help me with bits and pieces from Georgia.
Yeah.
Debbie Sace with Pilates, which is very neuro orientated. The Parkinson's UK are amazing. They've got a list of clubs that you can join.
Yeah.
The NHS movement disorder team, they are superb. People laughing with me and making jokes at my expense. I don't want people, I have videos put online. You help with putting videos online. And what I want to do is I don't want people to be scared like I was. There's, like I said, there's still fun to be had.
Yeah. And I think that's important.
And not to think too far ahead.
Yeah. Live in the moment.
Live in the moment. Talk works is somebody else who's helped me.
And just keep pushing yourself, because I think the more that you can do, the better your brain will be. And I think that's true for everyone, not even if you've got a neurological diagnosis. I think all of us can get set in the same routine, and especially women struggling with hormonal issues, like just keep trying to fire your brain, keep trying to be in social environments. Like your mum's amazing, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
I mean, she's just been on a holiday by herself.
On her own. Stubborn.
88 years old?
88, yes.
88. Lives on her own independently pretty much, doesn't she? Because she is so resilient and committed to being social and all of that, and it keeps her going, doesn't it? So
my brother says he's got a mantra, and he says, don't stop.
Yeah.
Just don't stop.
Yeah. Use it or lose it.
Yeah.
That's
there was that advert. Do you remember then somebody jumped over a wall? I can't remember the advert. And every day when he went off to work, he jumped over
I remember.
the wall.
Yeah.
We've just got to keep jumping that wall.
Just keep jumping over the wall. What has Parkinson's taught you?
Do you know, it's taught me how kind people are. I never expected. Debbie says as well, she goes away and thinks and researches.
Yeah.
And, my friends are so kind and so considerate. When I had my appendicitis, I went to London with a group of friends. About 3 days later, I shouldn't have gone. But oh my goodness, they didn't half look after me.
It's because we all love you.
Oh.
We love you very much.
Well, I love everybody too.
So, we have a new tradition on the pod, and Louise is going to be the first one. So, I'm going to be asking every guest to bring a picture of their younger self.
Oh.
So, show us your picture, Lou. Point it at the camera.
It's a bit faded.
Look at that. Very, very cute.
Does it look like me?
Very, very cute. Have a little look at that picture, Lou.
Oh.
Here we go. If you could go back and tell little Louise anything, what would it be?
It'll all be okay.
Because
I'm in charge.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for being my first guest on the We Missed The Memo podcast.
Thank you.
Such an inspirational story, and the first one in our series, Lived Not Learned. And I think the powerful message here is keep going and always advocate for yourself,
Yes.
no matter what. Always keep pushing for extra help. Always keep that gut feeling inside you. Go with your gut. But as I said before, for anyone affected with Parkinson's, in the show notes this week, we will be putting links to some incredible services and charities that can help support you and your family through this difficult time, plus links to anywhere local, because you do a few groups, don't you?
Yes, I have done.
Do you do sewing group?
I do sewing, dressmaking, because it's good for my brain.
Yes,
it's not
nice.
for Parkinson's in particular,
Yeah.
but that's what I do.
But there's a few clubs locally that can also help. And I'm pretty sure there's lots of forums on social media,
Yes.
isn't there, that we will also link. So please make sure that if you or your family need any education or help, to have a look at our show notes. We are going to be recording the bonus episode in a second, so make sure if you want to become part of our Patreon community that you click the link in the show notes also to join our membership. And don't forget to like and subscribe on Apple or Spotify to the pod. You can also watch this interview live on YouTube at We Missed The Memo podcast. Please subscribe to YouTube as well. Follow us on socials at We Missed The Memo, and DM us or email us at missedthememo@hotmail.com with anything that you have missed the memo about, that you would like us to cover, any of your stories, any of your experiences, and we will try and share it all. Thank you so much, Lou, for coming on. I've loved having you on.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.